daughters and their dad. I'm your host, Stacey J. Dempsey, and like always, thankfully, I have one of the other daughters and the one and only dad. Good morning and good afternoon to the both of you.
Good morning.
Good morning, good afternoon.
And good morning, good afternoon to all of our viewers and listeners. Thank you for tuning in with us. And here we are in March. Happy Women's History Month. One of the best months. How about it? And I know dad agrees because he has like 1,000 daughters. So there's that.
A lot.
But a lot. But we thought that, with it being Women's History Month, what better time to talk about just how far women have come? What does entrepreneurship look like for women now and versus maybe just even 10 years ago? What roles are women now leading that they once never did? And we'll do a little bit of reminiscing. And I know Jennifer has a lot of thoughts to share. So Jennifer, why don't you kick us off?
I always have a lot of thoughts to share. I'm a
You do.
hairdresser. I talk
That's right.
all the time. Oh man. So yeah, we're talking about this topic and I think 2025 is has made women in entrepreneurship even better. I think women, have so many different layers to them. They're more than just a wife, a mom. They have a lot to offer this world, and we've seen it in our history. And so I think the biggest challenge for women, especially in business, is balance. I know me and Stacey talk about this all the time, and we love to use the word mom guilt because there comes decisions and hard challenges to overcome, but it is also worth it. And I think women are feeling more fulfilled. Now, before we go any further, being a stay at home mom is one of the hardest jobs on the planet. And being a mom is such an important role. And so I don't want to take away from that. I love being a mom. I feel out of all the things that I do in life, it is truly my most important role. Um, and so, but there's also so many other facets to me that I need to explore as well. And so me and Janet, our producer, were kind of laughing because do you guys remember everybody had an Avon lady at one point? Remember? I know, when I first entered the workforce, I was selling jewelry. So there were like these side hustles that women got into to make like a couple extra dollars, something on the side to do something fun. And a lot of times you would see this happen kind of at night or on the weekends, and it would just be something for themselves. And so now when you look at social media, there has just been more and more opportunities for women to really grow into having any kind of business that they want. And so that's what I want to talk about a little bit on this podcast is how many opportunities have come for women even over the past few years as social media has grown so much.
Yeah, you're right, Jen. I mean, social media definitely gives us an outlet to see things that we maybe wouldn't necessarily see or see people that we wouldn't necessarily see. Um, and I know dad was leaning in, so let's get dad's thoughts.
Well, I just wanted to just, agree completely with Jen's statement about, you know, women who are out there in the workforce, out there running businesses, starting businesses, carrying high level positions um, in the marketplace. Um, you know, the role of being, a mom and deciding to stay at home is certainly not anything to look down upon. Um, and I feel like, and you hear it sometimes that, that can be, you know, kind of the, while you're not utilizing your strengths, your talents, who you are, being at home, raising kids. So I'm not everybody kind of has an opinion about that. My opinion lines up right with Jennifer's. It's an extremely important job, and it's very difficult. Takes a lot of organization, takes a lot of management. I mean, it takes all the skills necessary to be effective in the workplace, to be effective in the home, day to day. And so, again, there's no, I guess the beautiful thing today is it seems like there seems to be a lot less, guilt, shaming around it, because whether you decide to stay at home, and be home, well, that's a fantastic decision. Whether you decide for whatever reason, because of education, background, talent, strengths, necessity, from a financial standpoint, you decide to go into the workplace, again, good for you. It all is good. There's nothing wrong with either side. So, again, I think that's a big change that I think, talking about Women's History Month, that's a big change out there. It may be what it was some years ago. There seemed to be, again, some type of guilt that came with one way or another at times, and so I'm glad those lines have been kind of dropped, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. And on top of all of that, you guys, I wouldn't be who I am if I don't point out the fact that we even have single moms that are running businesses and have a full plate. And so I have to say, women are impressive because the things that they can put on their plate and accomplish day in and day out, or simply be up all night with a sick kid and be able to execute at their job the next day. I mean, it is not something small, and it should be something that's celebrated and too far overlooked sometimes. But nowadays, I think the struggle was when for women, when you're trying to work a 9 to 5, kind of a more of a traditional job, what we lacked in those roles was freedom. And so present day, the opportunity is women going into businesses, women opening businesses, whatever level that's at. And okay, money's great, but freedom is even better for us, right? So when you can create your own schedule and be your own boss, you can manage your day so much better. And so I was sharing with the team here, which you guys already know. This morning, my daughter was crying because she wanted me to pick her up from the bus so bad today. And a goal of mine is my daughter wants a horse one day. So I'm working really hard to make that come true. And so all I have to do is bring that up, and she's like, "Okay, mom, yeah, work more. Actually, I want
Right.
that. Work more." Or or simply, I want to be able to pull back in the summer and be at the pool with my family. So let me focus. Let me work a little bit more right now. So, you know, again, going back into like that mom guilt, I think that we all kind of feel it sometimes, but being able to explain that to our family, to our kids, they get it, guys. And so I might not be able to pick her up from the bus stop every day, but me and Stacy, we're able to be at the kids' schools, and rearrange our schedule to be at soccer practice and soccer games and all that great stuff. So when it comes to women in business, and I know we're talking about moms a lot on this podcast, I can't help it. I think it's about balance. And so one thing that we don't talk about a whole lot is that there is a level of sacrifice that comes with both. And so I find myself personally having to decide sometimes, right, is when I'm pushing the gas pedal on one thing and I got to put the brakes on something else. And just being able to determine when that is the right time for that. And sometimes we make the wrong decision, right? Sometimes we decide to lean into work too much and then, we miss something at home or vice versa. So, I think there is no right way to do it or right way to have balance. I know I'm always trying to figure out what the right thing is to do. But when you have a full plate as a woman in business, there is a level of sacrifice. There's no doubt. Right, Stace?
Absolutely. And like you said, there's a balancing act of doing some things, during, certain times of the year, like spending time in the summer, going to the pool and really pouring into that time. And then other times when it's like, next week I got to be gone 3 days. I have to work, so I have to pour into that. But I think what's really nice about, something like Women's History Month is being able to reflect on other women that have done things to, find inspiration. And Jennifer, you shared a quote before we jumped on about women businesses now. Why don't you share that with our listeners?
I gave it to you. Did you write it down? I didn't have it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did write it down. So 42% of all businesses are owned by women now, which
Wow.
is 157% more than just 10 years ago.
Wow.
Just 10 years ago. Not 100, 10 years ago. And I think that speaks to women having an outlet to follow their dreams, and then maybe also, having a family, or, being a support person in their own family, like Emily is to us. Just having options to be creative, to really do what you want to do, knowing that with anything, there's a level of sacrifice. And, I know when I look back at like Women's History Month, women were the first ones to get an airplane into the sky. And I think that, also, women are wonderful multitaskers. So it shouldn't be surprising that we have, we can put a lot on our plate and somehow keep it all going.
I mean, have you guys realized how much money the women are making off TikTok? It's like insane. Yeah. Our producer is a big advocate for TikTok, and so imagine being able to, be home, have complete freedom over your schedule and whatever that looks like. And it could be just simply sharing your life on TikTok. It could be selling things and people buying and you're earning commission. I mean, some of these women that I find are making six figures on TikTok and they're not clocking in nowhere. Right? So again, I think when you look at that, it's just inspiring to say, hey, women can, you just got to find a way and push fear to the side to make it happen, because we're seeing it every day. You don't have to, when we talk about businesses, you don't need a building to have a business, and women are proving that all the time, that they're able to take their kids to school and pick them up and earn six figures a year. And so I think, if anything, that is just inspiring and a testimony to women from where we've come and how far we've come and where we're going. And so it's just amazing to be able to celebrate that on the podcast this month, and even for ourselves, reflect back on, maybe where we started personally and where we've come. And things change, right? When you first open a business, I was 26 years old, single, no kids, and almost 9 years later, my personal life has changed so much. My family has changed so much. And I have been able to adapt with growing a family and growing a business at the same time. And so that can be inspiring to many women out there.
And I think it's important you brought it up, Jen, about single moms. You have much of the success out there, I think, and I don't have any statistics on it, but is born out of, setbacks that women have had to deal with. So for example, maybe there's single moms, maybe divorce, that now, their responsibility, is far greater for the financial security of their kids. And there's just a lot there that now, but rather than shrinking back from that, they've come up with ways to say, nope, it's, here's an opportunity here for me to step out and, show my strengths, show my talents, and move ahead and actually become very successful. So just again, you don't have to look far if you think about it, and see just a ton of inspirational, stories, around, around that. I mean, Jen, to me, you're inspiring on what all you do, between running your business and working in your business and being a mother to your daughter. And, and again, you have help, there's, we're blessed with family and, the village, so to speak, to be part of that. But, again, at the end of the day, you are fully engaged in both. And so again, I find that to be very inspiring. Stacy, you're the same way. You're, working in a very challenging business that's no 2 days are alike. Things are changing all the time. And yet, again, you're not a single mom, but, you still take your role as mom very seriously. You want to be, engaged with your kids and be involved in their life and build memories, so, that's not easy. And quite frankly, I think most men would not be able to do that very well. They just wouldn't. There's just so many inspiring stories out there, around this area of, challenge, setback, and that type of thing, that's propelled women, in business, propelled women into the workforce and that type of thing. So, looks like we lost Stacy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, our host will be back, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But, so thoughts on that, Jen?
Yeah. While you're saying that is business, right? Is facing challenges, learning how to overcome them, and not letting setbacks hold you back. And life experiences are worth it, right? When you go through hard times, you kind of learn for yourself, I don't want to go through that again, or I made a mistake, so let me do things differently. And hopefully you appreciate it, Dad. But I know I've brought it up before, when my parents got divorced, I always found it very inspiring that, Mom was a stay-at-home mom, and then, you guys separated and she went back to school later in life, and really was able to pick herself up and create kind of, where I don't think she probably didn't work for 20 years. And so, I think women are resilient in that way, that you can, it doesn't matter how old or how young you are, you can always kind of learn from things, pick yourself up, move forward, and try something new. So, if any, it's a great time to be a woman in business. And there's so many opportunities. Women have many different talents for the world to see. And it's just awesome to be able to.
Well, what do you think, Jen? Let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
Yes, things have changed a lot. We had a statistic there, that Stacy gave, around women-owned businesses. But what are still some of the challenges that, for any of our listeners, that are saying, okay, I want to move into that entrepreneur space, as a woman. So what are the challenges that they should be prepared for?
Yeah, I think that again with being able to say we've come such a far way, we still have further to go. And I've shared it before on this podcast. I can only speak from my experience. And because I was young and because I was a woman, it was hard for people to take me seriously at the time. And so thankfully I had you, Dad, and I called on you for certain things, right? People didn't want to, these men in high positions, they didn't want to give me a lease. It was like, oh, that's cute. You want to open a little hair salon. So I needed, and then having your presence without you saying anything, it was like I got taken a little bit more serious. So having you from finding the building to executing a contract, and I mean, I couldn't even get a bank account without you. So I think that there's challenges to opening a business or a business like mine, and then there's challenges to opening a business as a woman. And so we shouldn't be surprised by those things.
Well, again, now some of those things that you just described, I think, are challenges anybody would face.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that some of it you're exactly right. But I think whether male or female, you're going to be facing, some of those issues, getting leases, depending on where you're at in life, but the one thing that probably is different is when it comes to, negotiating, working things. I think, especially if you're going, men can feel like they have the upper hand, maybe, in those situations. So, being prepared to, you know, stand up, and, be who you are, and not feel like you have to, don't feel nervous if you feel like you need to push back,
Right.
Whether it's in a negotiation, or whatever the case may be. So kind of being prepared. But I think one of the things you also mentioned, whether it's, just another person, that has more experience, male or female, making sure you have that connection, obviously that, someone who can coach you, so to speak, in those early days. Preferably if it's a veteran woman entrepreneur, maybe that would be better, but not necessarily has to be the case, because business is business. So many of those things are universal, the challenges. But what else? What else might be a challenge?
I mean, I don't know. What are you thinking? I just can speak from my own point of view. But I think, when it comes to, again, I can't say it was just because I was a woman, but also because I was young too. Again, I feel like those two went together. As time went on and we built relationships as a business owner, I feel like that doesn't happen anymore. But if I'm being honest, 9 years into business, I seek out trying to do business with women. Obviously you can't always do that. But when, as a woman in business, I'm looking for a woman accountant. So I like to be around like-minded women and do business with women as much as I can. So again, you can't always do that in every scenario, but I do feel like that helps in some aspects of business.
Yeah, I think that, again, maybe one of the cautions for women is not to look at the challenges, not always look at the challenges you're facing, getting your business going or getting your business, running your business as, it's a challenge because you are a woman.
Right.
Try to be discerning on these are just challenges of running a business, no matter who you are. But then be able to identify, okay, I feel like this is more of a fact that, I am a female. And, so, starting to think through how do you approach that and address that, whether it's with employees, whether it's with vendors, whatever the case may be. Because again, there may be situations where you do feel that and it's very accurate. So you want to be able to understand, but I think that certainly a lot of the things, and I believe, I haven't looked at it, but I believe there's still a lot of opportunities for women, and I don't know if I'm saying this right, almost like a minority, where you have, programs out there that are geared for women business owners, whether it's financing, whether it's grants, other things that are out there, to to help women, in the area of business. Small Business Association might have programs. Like I said, I haven't done any real investigative work on that, but I know that that's been out there for a while. So making sure that you're looking at, where possible funding or other things could come in, that are programs out there that you can take advantage of.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, anything else? Guess we lost our host. I don't know where. Yeah. So
That's all right.
technology is great until it's not, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, okay. Well, then I guess I'll jump in and be host and say, we appreciate everybody joining us. I think this has been great in recognition of Women's History Month. And I'm glad that there is a month for that, because it is significant. And we see it. And I think we're a better society because of, women being more empowered, in the areas of entrepreneurship, leadership, the workplace. Like I said earlier, before we hit record, when I watched the financial news networks, how many women CEOs are out there, how many women of, again, high level positions with big companies that are out there. I mean, it's significant. You see it in the medical field too. So again, I think it's all for the better, for sure, that we're in this place. So, and hopefully it'll just continue to get better as time goes on. So thank you everybody for listening. We hope that you let everybody know about our podcast, and certainly share and certainly send us any comments, questions that you might have. So until next time, take care.